Here's a great pop song. It might not be an obvious choice for a single acoustic guitar. It's very much a piano-based song and in the guitar-unfriendly key of C sharp. Could hardly be worse. But with the capo on the first fret, we can easily play as if we were in C and it's in the same key as the original. There are a few distinct sections. There's an intro that forms the basis of the verse. We also have the chorus, of course, a very catchy chorus, but then there are a couple of bridge sections or interludes that join those together. We'll have a look at all of them, but let's start by looking at the intro. Now, the finished version is going to be quite layered, quite complex, I suppose, but we're going to start with a simple 4-bar section, 1 chord per bar, and build up from there. So we'll start with a chord of C for a bar, chord of D minor, a chord of A minor, and then half a bar each of F and G. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And right from the outset, let's get used to playing the G with 2 staccato strums like that. The F chord, if you're happy playing your F as an E-type bar chord on the first fret, all well and good, but there are lots of other options, most of which, all of which actually, are just combinations of various strings. So that's the top 4 strings. You could also play the middle 4 strings. Start with a C chord here. Move the second finger up to the 3rd string on the 2nd fret and tuck the little finger in behind the 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the 4th string. And those 4 strings are the middle 4 strings of that shape there. That's quite useful. Some people might swing their thumb round here. That's very much in the folk tradition to create a 5-string shape, but then I reckon you almost might as well play the full 6-string F. Anyway, we might find that we play different versions of that F depending on the context in the song. But here are the 4 bars up to speed. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and... Okay, and you'll notice I'm strumming down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, quite deliberately. We probably won't end up doing that, but this helps us keep the rhythm, a really strict rhythm, which is what we're going to need for this song. Okay, let's add a layer to that. The D minor, A minor and F chords all need to be anticipated, that is brought forward by half a beat. So if I strum down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, the final up strum of the bar is where I'm actually going to change to the new chord. So it's going to be C and 2 and 3 and 4. And as before, that G is just going to be on 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so far so good. Now we're going to add one more element that's really going to make this sound a bit more authentic. Just before each of those anticipated chords, that is the D minor, the A minor and the F chords, there's another chord a beat before. So if those anticipated chords are on 4 and, the extra chord, the approach chord if you like, that's what I'm going to call them, is going to be on 3 and. First of all, we have another C chord, but with E in the bass. Now you could either play E in the bass by just missing out the 5th string, as C with E in the bass, or in fact you could hit the 6th string instead, and that's going to give you an E. So that first bar into the 2nd bar is going to be C and 2 and 3 and. One more time, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay. For the A minor chord, I'm actually going to play a little bit of an F. That's just the 2nd, 3rd and 4th strings of an F shape going into A minor. So from the top we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's going to need a bit of practice. You can either pick these, as I'm doing here, which might be easier, might help you to get a clearer, more concise sound, or strum, but be strict about the strumming. Okay, finally, before the F chord, we're going to have a C. So that's going to be, if I go from the A minor, okay, so all together, You can probably hear my foot tapping there. We need to keep that rhythmic idea going. That should go into the verse, and then that happens 4 times in the verse. So let's try that. Keep drinking coffee, stare me down across the table while I look outside. So many things I'd say if only I were able, but I just keep quiet and count the cars that pass by. You've got opinions, man, we're all entitled to them, but I never ask. So let me thank you for your time. Try not to waste any more of mine, and get out of here fast. I hate to break it to you, babe. And now we're into the first of those interlude sections. Now this interlude is just 4 bars that take us into the first chorus. We've got a bar of D minor. I hate to break it to you, babe, to F. But I'm not drowning, to A minor. There's no one here to save. That's G, but I reckon that's G sus4. I think it's quite deliberate in the song. It's a fairly heavily produced song, but there's a bit of G sus4 and a bit of G. There's some brasses playing the C and the B. I reckon it's kind of quite close harmonies there. So you could either play G or G sus4. If you're playing G sus4, you're going to bring a first finger down onto the first fret of the second string like this. Ideally, you want to miss out the fingered note on the second fret of the 5th string, because those two together are the wrong kind of nasty. So what I'm doing there is just laying my 3rd finger across the one that's fretting the bottom string, so it just touches and mutes that 5th string, takes it out of circulation. So, I hate to break it to you, babe, I'm not drowning. There's no one here to save. And of course you can keep that first finger on from the A minor. There's no one here to save. Who cares if you do? And we're into the chorus. The chorus is 2 lots of 4 bars, and they're essentially the same thing. There's A minor. Who cares if you F? You are C. Who made you king of anything? And that's G sus4 to G. Same thing again. You dare tell me who to be, who died, who made you king of anything? And actually in the second time through, so that's bar 7, I reckon that C has got an E in the bass. If you want to play that, that's great, but if not, it really, who cares? Who cares if you disagree? You are not me. Who made you king of anything? So you dare tell me who to be, who died, who made you king of anything? And get back into our instrumental. You sound so innocent, all full of good intent, and swear you know best. And we're into the second verse, which is exactly the same as the first verse. Now the only difference here is that the second verse goes directly into the second chorus without an interlude in between. And when we get to the end of the chorus, we just stay on the G sus4 to go into the next bridge section. I'll show you the bridge and I'll show you how the chorus links to it. This section is G. All my life to G sus4. I've tried to make everybody happy, D minor to A minor, while I F just heard G sus4 and hide. That's the first part. All my life I've tried to make everybody happy while I'm just heard and hide. Now the final 2 bars of this are a run of 4 chords, each of which is half a beat early, anticipated, very much like what happened in the intro section. It's our D minor, C over E, and I'm going to play it with the open bottom string, to F, to G, so that we get this. And that bass line is what really makes this tick. So the whole of that bridge section. All my life I've tried to make everybody happy while I just hurt and hide, waiting for someone to tell me it's my turn to decide. and we're into another interlude, which is just the intro section. So let's play the chorus into that section and we'll see how they join together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Who cares if you disagree? You are not me. Who made you king of anything? So you dare tell me who to be, who died? Who made you king of anything? All my life I've tried to make everybody happy while I'm just hurt and high, waiting for someone to tell me it's my turn to decide. Okay, and so on. Now the song finishes with 2 more choruses after we've had our little dump. Who cares if you disagree? Well, you know by now what the chorus sounds like. We play it twice through. The second time we stay on the G chord for an extra bar. That's just how that works. And then we go into our intro riff again twice through to end the song, and we actually end on this G. So that very last bit is going to be, let me hold your crown, babe, once more. And that's it.